You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning and welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenoff coming to you live. Calvin is at Radio Park in Racine, and Greg and I here live at the EAA Museum in Oshkosh.
This is an amazing space, Jane.
It is.
I am. If at any point you see me just staring off at planes, just kind of snap me back, be like, "Hey, come back to the show." This is gorgeous.
It really is. And if you are a history buff, and you've never been here, you really need to come up to the EAA Museum just for the variety.
Yeah.
Of planes that have been involved in various wars, and it's astonishing. It is. I have never been in here.
Mm-hmm.
I have attended the EAA before.
Yeah.
But getting close up to some of these things, like this little Spitfire that's over my right shoulder.
Yeah.
When you get up close to it, it's tiny.
It's very tiny.
It's like teeny tiny.
Yeah.
And people were shooting at you
Mm-hmm.
in this tiny thing. So I just think it gives you an entirely different appreciation for the courage and the sacrifice
Absolutely.
that these people did for on behalf of our country.
Yes,
So
there is an emotional factor to being in this
Without a
space,
doubt.
looking at all these planes. I'm staring at one right now. It's made of wood, and it flew to defend our freedom and our country and our values, and it's beautiful. And I had this when I was walking through this, like I was taken aback.
Getting emotional?
Yes, I was getting emotional by it, and I loved it. It's wonderful, and we thank the EAA for letting us be here today on the first day of Todd and Jane on the road, or Jane and Todd on the road. The contract.
that's just the way the shows fall, because our show is first.
Exactly.
So otherwise,
Exactly.
we can flip them back and forth. It really doesn't. We're not that way.
Exactly. But yeah, this is our first of 3 days. We're going to be here today in Oshkosh. Then tomorrow we're going to be in Butternut. And then we'll be making our way to Hayward.
Yep.
And we'll be having some great adventures along the way. So stay tuned this week. And then Todd will be joining. We'll be on at 2 p.m. today.
Yep.
And it's just going to be a great time. We had a nice road trip up to Oshkosh, had a great dinner, and I'm ready to go. I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I'm ready to go.
We are ready to roll.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dick Napinski from the EAA is going to be joining us after 9:30 to talk about the events.
Yep.
The EAA officially gets underway on Monday,
Yeah.
but as the show goes on, you're probably going to see some things. Some of these big planes are going to be moving these big planes behind us because they have a bunch of events that are coming to lead up to this event. There's already people camping.
And that was the thing that Dick was telling us, is that, well, one thing, and we've mentioned this before when we've talked about the EAA, is that Oshkosh for 1 week becomes the busiest airport in the world. And also, he said, so today is July the 16th. He said that at the end of June, people were lined up, I think it was the 27th of June,
Yes.
to line up to get their camping spot. And they stay here the whole month, not even just the week. They're here the month because they just want a good space. They want to hang out. And people come from all over the world for it.
And I think it's one of those events, too, where you make relationships, and this is your meetup spot, right?
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
a year, we're going to meet
Yes.
you at the EAA. We met 25 years ago, and these are our buddies, and this is what we do. And so we're going to be learning a whole lot more about that as the show goes on today. If you have any questions, you can always text us.
Yep.
And check in at 855-752-4842. Also, leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream.
Absolutely.
On Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Again, Dick Napinski from the EAA joining us after 9:30. Hal Bryan also is going to give us some of the history of this event and why it is so important and what it does for the city of Oshkosh.
Yes, it is it's a huge revenue generator for the city. And and like we said before, people are here for a month at a time to visit and to be here, and they go to the restaurants, they go to the other attractions and things like that. And Tony on the live stream says, I can't believe Civic Media built you a hangar. It's really the best.
They did. It was amazing.
Luke Mick Mathers is off in the corner. I just want to say, Luke, thank you for the funding of this beautiful space, the new Matt Nair on Air office and studios.
Yeah.
Todd, if you want to use it, please give us a month notice. We'll let you know. But yeah, it's a gorgeous space.
It's a fantastic space. Yeah. And again, it's going to be interesting to see. I think this wall over my left shoulder here, those are actually doors.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think they're going to be moving some planes in and out as they make some space. They have a big event on tomorrow night with like 1,000 people in here. So they're going to set up a stage right behind us. So they got to move some of these planes. We will be driving them.
Yeah.
We'll just drive them out. I'm sure it's fine. It'll all be fine.
Yeah.
We did want to start, though, with something that is breaking locally. This is from the Wisconsin Examiner, Eric Gunn, with the byline, "Court orders state to stop blocking unemployment insurance for people with disabilities." The court order effectively ends a 12-year-old state law which disqualifies people from getting unemployment if they get Social Security disability insurance. This law was passed in 2013, only Republican support in the legislature, and it was signed by Governor Scott Walker.
Shocking.
It was based on the premise that most Social Security disability insurance recipients don't work, and that when they did file unemployment claims, they were double dipping and probably committing fraud. Victor Forberger, who has legal practice almost exclusively focused on unemployment insurance, says that impression is completely false. Many people with disabilities who qualify for SSDI are still able to do some kinds of work, and they often want and need to.
Yes, and this goes back to, this actually kind of ties in with the Medicaid discussion we've been having for quite a few weeks now, where they're trying to paint those who get Medicaid with a broad brush as being lazy, shiftless, layabouts, playing video games, doing nothing, when that is in fact the opposite. We can talk about the matter of fraud or abuse and things like that, but when we're talking about just a broad generalization, it is absolutely inaccurate. And we did a little bit of research, and with regard to, quote, double dipping,
right?
It said the monthly SSDI payment is $1,538. That's about $18,000 a year.
That's not a lot.
And the weekly, the maximum unemployment benefit that's paid in Wisconsin is $370 a week. So that's about $1,400. So you're looking at, if you were to get the maximum every week plus the maximum SSDI, you're coming away with about $30,000 a year. More than that, probably $35,000 a year. And that's if you're getting maximum on both.
And that's the maximum, which most people don't.
If you're getting the maximum unemployment and the average SSDI. And when you think about today's day and age, that for a person to live and survive, if that's the only means, if they can't work, that's still not, that doesn't guarantee you a quality of life.
No.
Maximum SSDI payments is just about the poverty line. So if you add unemployment, it's not like they're getting high on the hog here.
Nobody's buying Mercedes.
Yeah, and also this is a matter of people do want to work. If they can work, they will work. But if they can't, they need a way to, and they pay into this too. Like SSDI, unemployment, those are things we all pay into. It's not just a magical fund.
They come out of our checks.
Exactly. So this is money that you invested into the state and or country, and you're getting your investment back to take care of you for however long you need. If it's permanent, one thing, but if it's not, it's just this drawing a line to make you despise poor people, working poor people, disabled people for some reason, but it's just this way of instilling fear and othering those who need help because they're seen as takers.
Yes. And I also don't understand, they have this great way of saying, it was Bob Kennedy Jr. said this the other day, people who are on disability or on Social Security spend on average 6.1 hours watching television. How do you know that?
Yeah, that's a very specific.
Are you going to everybody's house and checking in with them? Are you calling them every day? Yeah. What are you watching right now? How do you quantify that for me?
Well, and I mean, then do you have the average time spent watching TV by those who just have a full-time job? Because I know people who watch television from 4 to 5 hours a night when they get home. So it just seems like a very specific statistic. And I'm sorry, but I just, based on his performance so far in the job, I really don't believe any statistics he's bringing to the table, honestly.
Well, and Robert Kennedy Jr. just fired 2 of his top deputies. What have they been in there? They've been 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, compared to the first Trump administration,
Yeah.
some of these people are actually sticking around quite long.
I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, that it is records being held by certain people, but we'll see where we're at by the end of the year with all the other stuff going on. Epstein file. We won't get into that though. Yeah, but back to the notion of it was. I remember when Scott Walker pushed this narrative back in the early 2010s of this double dipping epidemic.
Right.
And everyone was saying, like, look, no one's getting $100,000. And PJ on the live stream points out SSDI is paid by the federal government, unemployment's paid by the business owner, and it's not like you're taking money from it's just trying to make it seem like they're takers, and they're not. They're just trying to get what they've earned.
Well, and I think they're trying to divert from the real takers.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I do.
Yeah.
Let's talk double dipping. Let's talk about all the members of Congress who are trading stocks on information that they've gotten, that's something that the Trump administration is going to do in the next 2 days. Mm-hmm. Let's follow that double dipping. Well, let's look into that a little bit.
I mean, and it's also the notion of looking at when we talk about fraud and abuse, the major funds usually come from business fraud.
Yes.
I mean, individuals
Hello, Rick Scott.
can definitely do a number, and there's a huge amount of fraud in the social safety nets. That's without argument. But we always put it on the individual. We always place the blame on the people, so we can fear them, other them, and have something to fight.
To scapegoat.
Exactly.
Something to scapegoat.
While never looking at the businesses and the organizations that are doing it with impunity, as well as almost the endorsement of the federal government itself.
Christine from Slinger texting in, listening on WAUK. People forget that people who get these benefits spend the money, putting it right back into the economy.
Yeah.
And Tiffany from River Falls, listening on WLAK in Amory. And that's before taxes come out. I've received max unemployment payment years ago, and it didn't even pay my rent while I was job searching.
Yep. And that, yes. These, if you quote unquote I'm not even going to call it double dipping. I'm not using their lingo to attack others. If you get a revenue stream from two separate insurance payments, whether it's with SSDI and work for unemployment, the max total you can get is not going to really cover a luxurious lifestyle.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There is this idea, again, that people who are receiving benefits are again, all driving Mercedes and getting a Lexus and another yacht. Oh, wait, no, that's Jeff Bezos.
Oh.
Those guys. Yeah. I was confused. When we return, our administration is all about catching waste, fraud, and abuse. We don't want to be wasting money. That's a terrible, terrible thing.
Let me guess.
Oh, we're wasting a whole bunch of money. And we'll explain it on the other side. Stay with us. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air on the Civic Media Radio Network, live from Oshkosh. Stay with us.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Good morning. Welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Sweet Cal B back at the studio at Radio Park in Racine. We are live on location at the EAA Museum here in beautiful Oshkosh. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Todd Alba also going to be doing his show here live starting at 2 o'clock today. If you're in the Oshkosh area, we would love to meet you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The building is open. The museum is open. So if you'd like to stop by, we actually have Kringle.
We have Kringle. Oh my God!
Kringle and coffee you'll grow. I think you will grow.
It'll wake up the rest of your days.
Todd Alba knows how to make one strong pot of coffee. So stop by and see us. We would love to meet you. This is just day one of our road trip with Matt Nair on Air and the Todd Alba Show. Today, Oshkosh. Tomorrow from Butternut. And then on Friday, we will be in Hayward. If you're in those areas, again, come and see us. We'd love to meet you. I think we have some T-shirts and some other potentially swaggy things.
Jane, I want to admit to you something.
Oh, you forgot the shirts?
I forgot shirts. I knew Luke Mathers would be looking at me right now while I said that. I forgot that.
No problem. We'll give you a coupon for a shirt.
Yeah, like when we were kids, like they had the Star Wars toys that they'd be like, here's a coupon, send it to us, and in February you'll get something.
Sure, stop on by. We'll give you a coupon, and then we'll send you a shirt. I promise. It's coming.
Oh, that's
yes. Dick Napinski from the EAA is going to be joining us after the 9:30 news just to talk about all the doings here. There is a lot going on in Oshkosh. EAA officially kicks off on Monday, and then Hal Bryan, also connected to the EAA, going to learn more about why Oshkosh and how this thing all got started and what this means to the community.
Yeah.
Before we get to the news, though, I did want to mention this because it makes me furious. We're all about saving money. We can't waste money. There's waste and fraud. This is terrible. Oh, no. Well, U.S. to destroy 500 tons of emergency food as aid freeze stalls global relief efforts. Yeah. So we cut off USAID.
Yes.
Nearly 500 metric tons of high-energy biscuits that the administration bought, the Biden administration bought, for $800,000. We've had this stuff. We bought them.
Yeah.
We have these things.
Yeah.
So we had this $800,000 worth of these high-energy protein biscuits that were meant to feed children in crisis zones like Afghanistan and Pakistan. Well, now USAID staff had asked if we can still do this. Can we still distribute this stuff? We have it. It's already paid for. No. We're going to destroy it. Secretary of State Marco Rubio testifying in May that no food aid should go to waste. Oh. But internal documents reviewed by The Atlantic show that already by that time he was testifying before Congress that they plan to destroy the food that had already been issued. Burning up this food is going to cost us an additional $130,000.
I mean, they have been talking about the effects, and I know that Todd wrote a wonderful story on Civic Media on our website about how his life was impacted by USAID, but the effects that were felt by cutting this program were felt immediately, and they spoke about the food that wouldn't get to people, the people who would die because of it, and there was no convincing anyone differently that this was a terrible idea.
Right.
And now, and we are 5 months into the administration, we are now starting to see just like those numbers are starting to come out. I mean, this is shameful.
It is shameful.
This is, I mean, from a bunch of people who try to speak from a spiritual, faithful point of view, the idea of being, pushing a narrative that is faith-driven, this is something that is actually in the book. They talk about, feeding the poor.
That is in the book. I believe that's mentioned specifically in a very specific book.
They made a couple of fish feed a lot of people,
Yeah.
but that's just it though. They're saying instead, we're not only gonna not do it, we're gonna burn it.
Yeah, I just find this appalling and atrocious and the height of hypocrisy. Mm-hmm. It is the height of hypocrisy
absolutely.
to say that we are so concerned about we already bought this stuff.
Mm-hmm. What would it harm getting those? What would it harm putting it on planes, getting it to the people who needed it? And whatever you want to cut it off after that, that's reprehensible. But I'm not in charge.
But to do this,
is just it's a slap in the face, and it's going to have consequences on the perception of this country by those who once needed our help. They're going to see us as just a horrible nation. And they're not, let's say 2028 happens without a hitch. There's an election. Donald Trump is not elected into office. The repair work that the next president is going to have to do is going to be 2 years of their presidency.
It's going to be, this is going to take a decade.
Yes,
it's going
absolutely.
To take a decade to fix this. All right, we are live here at the EAA Museum in Oshkosh. I absolutely want to drive that. I need one of those. I don't even know what that is.
It's a big car puller thinger. It pulls things.
It's a plane puller.
It's a puller of planes.
Luke, we need one of those.
Can you, Luke? Can you put that into the budget? Just put it as miscellaneous spending, please. Thank you very much.
Jane wants a toy.
You know what? Actually, get two. Why get one when you get two for twice the price?
Absolutely.
It's great.
We have news coming up next, and then when we return, Dick Napinski from the EAA is here. He's been doing this forever.
Yeah.
He's also an old TV guy.
Radio guy?
Radio guy. So we're going to share lots and lots of stories. And again, if you are in the Oshkosh area, come on out and see us. The EAA Museum is open. We are here until 11 o'clock. You are listening to Matt and Air on Air. Stay with us. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning and welcome to Matt and Air on Air. Jane Matt and Air, Greg Bach, Calvin Butonoff coming to you live. Calvin live at our home at Radio Park in Racine. We are on the road, baby. Matt and Air on Air and the Todd Alba Show on the road. Our first stop today at the EAA Museum in Oshkosh. If you're in the area, the museum is open. We would love to meet you. Stop on by. We have fresh coffee that will make you grow several inches. And we also have Kringle if you are so inclined. So please join us. We would love to meet you. Thank you, Mike, on the live stream, who says, welcome to Oshkosh. We are so happy to see you both here. Civic Media is the best. We really appreciate that, Mike. Thank you so much. You know who is the best, who is making time out for us and let us in this morning and helped us get all set up? Dick Napinski is here from the EAA. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Welcome to the house. Great to be here.
Oop.
You know, it's there we go. That works a little bit better.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's people have said that's always been my best voice. You know, but welcome to the house.
It's there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Today's airplane moving day, by the way, in
Right.
back of us going on as we get ready for AirVenture next Monday. We're moving these airplanes out onto the flight line, and people can see them outdoors when they're here. And then we use this eagle hangar inside our museum for a lot of public functions as well during the week.
Because there are, I mean, other than there's the Great Air Show, which happens every day, which is fantastic. I used to come up every year for it. I knew some of the skydivers. But you have all kinds of classes and there's so much involved with the EAA beyond just the air show.
Oh, you're right, Jane, because you think about this event during the course of the week. We have 9 air shows in 7 days, 2 night air shows and so forth. We have one of the largest aviation education conferences in the world. We have 1,400 different seminars going on during the week. We have more than 800 exhibitors, so it's one of the biggest aviation trade shows in the world. And then in this facility here on Thursday night, we put on a fundraiser for our education program that raises $2 million.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a big fundraiser too. And for a lot of organizations, any one of those things would be a full year thing.
Yeah.
And we do it all in 1 week. Oh, by the way, we've got 40,000 people who are going to be camping right here, too. So we've got the second largest city in Winnebago County that pops up for a week as well.
That's amazing.
That is
amazing.
Wow. I mean, and you were saying before we got on the air that people, and I mentioned this earlier, that people show up like a week and a half ago to get good camping spots. Like they're here.
They're particular spots.
And they spend the month here. And this is their summer thing.
Oh, yeah. We opened up our campground on June 27th, and we had several hundred people lined up ready to get their camp spots. In fact, we've got a system to make sure, okay, people, let's be orderly and get your numbers. It's kind of a deli system. Okay, number 1, go get your camp spot.
Wow.
And, and so they get in, and a lot of these people have camped next to each other for 20, 30 years. Their families have grown up next to one another. A lot of them are volunteers. They'll spend some time out here and doing everything. Some of the people you see pulling airplanes today in the red shirts, they're all volunteers.
No kidding.
They're out here and they're tugging airplanes around and just having a great time with it.
And we talked about this before we even got on the air, just about the history and the relationships. And at the hotel, we were at the Marriott last night in downtown Oshkosh, and I heard 2 guys speak, and I couldn't even understand. They were foreign, but it's like, I know why you're here.
Yeah.
I know you're here for the EAA. I'm sure you're here for the EAA.
I mean, and walking into this room alone, and we've got a shot of it right now on the live stream, and now that some of the planes are gone, but in front of us right now are just these beautiful planes that have fought wars, and next to us we have a Huey that fought. I believe you said 3
tours in Vietnam.
3 tours in Vietnam. So the history is just it's almost overwhelming, and there's just such beautiful artwork on the wall showing exactly where these planes fought and the things they did for this country. It's just this room alone is perfect and wonderful. I can't even, the rest of the campus is excellent. And I love the component of the education. And I know that when I was listening last year, I believe you were on as well, you talk about the educational programs you have for kids.
Yeah, we do. It all starts off with our Young Eagles program. Our members throughout the country donate their time, the airplanes, the fuel to fly kids for absolutely free, ages 8 through 17, our Young Eagles program. We have flown 2.4 million kids in 30 years.
Wow.
Matter of fact, there are approximately 20 to 30,000 of today's pilots under the age of 40 who started with a Young Eagles flight.
No kidding.
And so the people flying your regional jets today, your airliners, they're in the military programs. They are in all the college aviation programs right now. A lot of them started as that first flight, Young Eagle, and it might be here, it might be in a champ place in California, in Arkansas, in Delaware, that they got that first flight with an EAA member and said, this is cool. I want to do this.
We've talked to the EAA in Racine.
We talked to, and they
and they 38 down there. Great
yeah,
chapter.
they're terrific.
They came on, talked about the Young Eagles program, and they actually made us official members of the EAA last year. And we have I have my badge at home, and I was just like, it's wonderful. And I love that educational aspect for young people because another thing I remember you discussing is that this industry is an industry that is teeming with jobs.
It is.
All kinds of jobs.
And these are good jobs too. These are like they're almost like they remind me of like trade jobs in the sense that you get trained, you learn how to do these tasks, and then eventually like you're employable pretty much anywhere in the world work.
Exactly right. Not just pilots, too, line pilots, but you need the technicians, the people that fix the airplanes. You need engineers within the aviation industry. There are room for marketers, people in finance, schlubs like me in communications. And, that
I'm a schlub. I can get a job here?
That's right, yes. Yeah. Look for the listing under schlubs. And so, those kind of things are all available within aviation. And now with the drone community, the urban air mobility community starting, all that technology coming to the fore, there's a whole new horizon developing right now in the world of flight, in the world of aviation.
Boy, I never even considered the whole drone aspect of it. That's huge.
Yeah. One thing we're going to have during AirVenture is a company called Wing, and they're actually going to do demonstrations over part of our campground on what the delivery service is going to look like in the future. And there's a lot of airspace issues that we're working out right now between drones and manned aircraft and things like that. And there's some controversy and some conflict, but that is part of the future as well, and that airspace is going to be shared. And so how do we do that safely and effectively? That's one of the questions coming up for the future.
Well, we got to start talking about how we're going to navigate it now, because it's coming, right?
Exactly.
It's not going to go away.
Yeah. And if you're just joining us, we have Dick Napinski, who's here from the EAA. We are going to be. They are going. I'm not doing anything. You don't want me near this. But next week is the big EAA event that it happens, and it brings in. How many people does it bring in? Just I mean, from the people driving in their campers alone, flying in. Like, how many people do you have on the property?
Well, last year we had a record attendance. This is an aggregate attendance, much like the Brewers have an aggregate attendance throughout the year. 686,000 total attendance here. Now that's between 200,000 and 300,000 separate bodies who are on these grounds during the course of the week. And you're right, a lot of them fly in. Think about the draft that the Green Bay had back in late April.
Right.
Tremendous event. They did a great job up there hosting the draft, and they had about 600,000 people there. Once in a lifetime event for Green Bay.
Yeah.
We do that every year.
Every year.
Yeah. And so it's bringing it together. We had people here from 94 countries last year. And you take a look at that, and the world literally comes to Oshkosh for a week. And if you talk to pilots around the world and simply say the word Oshkosh, they know exactly what you're talking about.
That's amazing.
What a wonderful bonding thing for everybody.
Yeah.
Seriously. And even if you think that's not my thing, I don't want to. If you get in here, there is something that's going to grab you. I'm telling you.
Just the museum alone.
Just the museum. We were talking about this before you joined us, Dick. That little Spitfire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tiny. It's this teeny tiny little thing, and being able to get up close to it and see it like this gives you a whole different appreciation for what our armed forces went through and what they experienced.
Exactly.
Looking at the spot where the bombardier sat.
Oh, yeah.
The
belly turret, that's amazing.
That's a scary place to be.
If you were 5'6", they stuck you in there, and you spent 8 hours on the bottom of a
B-17,
hoping that, first of all, nobody was shooting at you.
Exactly.
And second of all, that the pilot remembered to put the landing gear down when you landed.
That would be important.
Yeah.
That's helpful. That's very, very
helpful.
That is
very helpful. Now, Dick, I wanted to ask you about something. There's been a lot of controversy within the Transportation Department, FAA. We had huge tragic accidents happening this year, and I wanted to talk more to you about. You said something interesting off air about the safety record in America with regard to air travel that we do not hear. I personally have never heard anyone from the organization talk about the record versus what we see in the news. Can you speak more on that, please?
Sure. When those accidents happen, and they're tragic, the one that happened near Reagan National, of course, earlier this year, the Air India one that happened recently, tragic stuff when that happens with airliners, very high profile and so forth.
Yes.
And people say, oh my goodness, is air travel safe? Yes, actually, if you take a look at the graph over the last 50 years, air traffic has gotten considerably safer. For instance, just in our recreational community, the accident rate has dropped by about 50% over the last 40 years.
Really?
Better training, better technology in the cockpit, things like that. So those kind of things are happening. And one reason it makes the news is because it is so rare.
Yeah.
And, we get on an airplane and there's a level of trust there. All of us do that. We get on an airline or go someplace and there's a level of trust there. And when something like that happens, you go, oh boy, I'm not in control of that. What is going on there? One thing that these accidents did do, however, is put a focus on the FAA and the technology needs that they have. Everybody's talking about, hey, we have to update the air traffic control system, which is entirely true. The FAA knows it. The air traffic controllers know it. They are understaffed. They need resources. They still have people printing off paper briefings on strips of paper as they did 40 years ago, 50 years ago. That technology has to be upgraded.
Yes.
And so it's great to see that Congress and the White House have agreed, saying we have to put resources behind this and update this and bring this up to the technology which matches what the pilots in many cases have now in the cockpit with ADS-B, the see and avoid, the weather radars and everything else that are such a part of what we have here on our computers, our iPads.
Right.
And a lot of us who fly actually use iPads now just as much as the instruments to see what the weather is, where the airports are, what alternate airports are, our routes. It's an amazing thing.
And that's another job too that we were just speaking about. Air traffic controllers, I know they need them. They're
desperately. Yeah.
Desperately need, and those are jobs that are out there that I understand that they're high stress, but they are important and
Critical.
things that kids can, if they see that job, be like, oh, that's something I want to do. And if they're given the support and technology they need, it becomes more attractive to get into the industry to do that versus seeing the stories we're seeing now. I mean, I applaud the White House and Congress for because as you mentioned, it's been decades of back and forth.
Yeah.
And now
We'll do it later. We'll do it later.
Exactly.
We'll do it later.
But now they're taking charge, and that's great.
Well, it's like, you have a house and you always put off that maintenance and pretty soon, everything falls apart all at once.
Yeah.
Same type of situation. You've got one of those things where you've patched along technology for so long.
Right.
How do you bring it up to where it needs to be? And since you've patched it for that long, it's going to take a substantial investment to put into it.
Absolutely. Dick Napinski is our guest. We are here at the EAA Museum, day one of On the Road with Matt Nair on Air and the Todd Alba Show. So delighted to be here. If you are in the area, the museum is open. Please come in and say hello. We got coffee, we got crinkle, all kinds of things. No shirts, though.
Yep, that's on me. No shirts. Sorry, no shirts. No, sorry.
But we'll give you a coupon. So
Yeah.
no, it's all good. We only have a couple of minutes before we got to take a short pause. But when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the scholarship opportunities for kids and what this can mean, because as you and I had talked about, learning how to fly can be an expensive proposition.
Yes.
And so what this offers them, and also what this does for the city of Oshkosh and why this is so important to this area. Stay with us. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air. This is the vast, statewide, countrywide. You can pick us up globally on the app, baby. The Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Good morning and welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenoff. Calvin is holding things down at the fort at Radio Park in Racine. Greg and I and Todd Alba on the road. It is our summer road trip for Matt Nair on Air and the Todd Alba Show. We are here at the EAA Museum. EAA Air Venture kicks off on Monday. And one of the grounding people, you've been here forever. Dick Napinski has been with the EAA how many years?
This is 33 now.
33.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm old.
But you were an old broadcaster.
I am an old broadcaster, yeah, which means I'm even older. And yeah, and where you're going tomorrow, up Park Falls Butternut, that's where I started my broadcast career.
Oh, that is awesome.
And, it's WPFP, WQCM. It was WNBI at the time, came out of school, and went there, spent 9 years in Park Falls and Butternut, and I've got a lot of those stories. I can even tell you about wood tick racing and oxbow and all of those things.
You're going to have to come with us now.
Wood tick racing, a severely Wisconsin thing.
Oh, it is, yeah. Now, I'm happy to say we won the wood tick race back in the 80s.
Where's the hotkey with the applause? There you go.
Yeah. There's actually a photo in the Sawyer County Gazette from May 1984 that I still have back when I had hair. And it was holding the trophy with the bug on top of it.
That is priceless. That is just priceless. One of our colleagues, Terry Barr, worked with you years ago, I believe, in television.
Yep.
And was your nickname Napster?
Well, mostly Napper.
Napper.
Yeah. Yeah, I was dubbed.
Mine's too. But it's usually because I'm sleeping a lot.
Let's go back to the scholarship program that the EAA offers, because learning how to fly can be a very expensive venture.
Yep.
So, how far do you take these kids?
It all depends. Some of them are, we have college scholarships, several $100,000 of scholarships that we hand out for kids that are going to aviation programs, maybe technician programs. Some of them are very dedicated, some of them general scholarships, but we've got a lot of great benefactors who have helped fund that through the years. And one we have is called the RACE Scholarship Program, Aviation Scholarship Program, and it allows kids up to we've got more than $2 million a year that we fund through local chapters throughout the country, and they're full flight training scholarships up to $12,000.
Wow.
So these kids can earn their private pilot certificate, and they become chapter members. They help with the chapter, and it's for young people, basically ages 17 through 21. They earn these things. They go off, get their pilot certificate. A lot of them get into the track, and what's really nice is out of every 100 people who start flight training normally, 80 of them drop out.
Yeah.
We've reversed that. Now, 75 to 80% of them complete their pilot training, and the dropout rate is only about 25%, which is incredible.
That's amazing.
And that's what we're trying to do throughout the industry, to get people engaged, to make sure that affordability comes into it. Because, flying is an expensive pursuit with everything involved. But once you learn it, you have it, and so many doors open up to you.
Well, and we were talking about jobs a little bit earlier. Airplane maintenance jobs are really good jobs.
Yes.
I have a friend whose son just finished, and again, he doesn't want to fly. He doesn't want to be a pilot. That's not his thing. Maybe, the math was the math, because there's a lot of math involved in being a pilot. That wasn't his thing, but he found his niche in the mechanics of it.
Yeah, and that goes back to what you were saying earlier, is that it's not just about pilots. It's not just about flying. This industry has so many opportunities for careers, and that's something that you at the EAA talk about to expose to people and let them understand all of those things that are available. Because you don't think about that. You don't think about all the people involved. You think about pilots, and you think about the people who directly affect you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And there's so much more than
And so much more behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There is. All of
absolutely.
us who fly have somebody who takes care of our airplane. Most of us are can do some of the simple stuff, but they have somebody who, you have to have your airplane inspected every year or every 100 hours, whichever comes first. And there are people that have to sign off and do that. And a lot of those people are getting to retirement age. And so there is a whole backfill situation here for young people to get involved, and we can help them with scholarships and help them direct them toward that career path.
It's a great. Come and check it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the other thing I wanted to just mention real quickly in the time that we have left, Dick, is people who are afraid to fly.
Yeah.
There are programs for people to take advantage of, aren't there?
There are programs, and there are reasons. Why are they afraid to fly? Is it something that they're not in control? Is it something that the weather, you get a little bit of a bump sometime. You're flying along and things might bump. And so you have to have those kind of things. And so we'll work with people. A lot of the aviation organizations will have that, the fearful flyer type situation.
Right.
Or the pinch hitter course. Let's say your spouse is a pilot and you ride along. Well, what happens if something happens to him or her? Can you land the airplane? We have courses, and other organizations have courses that say, okay, we can do basics. We teach you how to operate the airplane. Yeah. And so what is the fear, first of all? What's that individual fear? What can we do? And sometimes it is getting people to take that first lesson with a flight instructor to understand how it all works. It's not a magic box that propels
Right.
itself into the air.
Right.
And and some people think, and people often ask me, how do airplanes fly? What makes them fly? So that's easy, money. And, but it's, but actually, it is. It's a machine like any other machine, like a car, lawnmower, motorcycle, powerboat. It's learning to understand how it operates, and once you do, then it all comes together.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, though. This is, aerodynamics play a role, and shear, and all these things. And so, yeah, I can see once it is explained with logic.
Yeah.
It's not just a magical box that all of a sudden we don't know how it works. We just get it and we start it up and we drive and it goes.
I trust the 3 people in the front to just press the right buttons, and I'll be in Cleveland. It'll be fine.
And so do I when I fly commercial. Yeah.
Any last tips for folks who might be heading up next week?
Okay, first thing, July 21st through the 27th next week. We start on Monday morning. You can go to ea.org/tickets to get the tickets. If you're coming up here by car, go online, get your parking. You'll save $7 a day on parking.
Nice.
Get it there, and you'll zip right through and get to the flight line.
Dick Napinski with the EAA, thank you so very, very
Always
much.
a pleasure.
We are delighted to be here. We have news coming up next, and then Hal Bryan is going to talk about a little bit of the history of the EAA.
Can't wait.
Why Oshkosh? No one knows.
And we have T-shirts.
And we got T-shirts.
I didn't bring them.
You are listening to Matt Nair on Air. We are live on the road from the EAA Museum. Stay with us. You are listening to the Civic Media Radio Network.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.